Welcome. Let's begin by finding a comfortable place, maybe on your back, making any little intuitive movements that will allow you to land. Just checking in, noticing the state of your mental body, your emotional body, now that you have created a form with your physical body that is exactly as you need it, right here, right now, exactly as you are. Let's take a deep breath in from the very bottom of your belly. And then open your mouth and sigh your breath out. Just giving yourself permission to land here. And just starting to connect with the balance of your breath. Just knowing that this breath will help guide you today throughout this practice. And then starting to notice the space that is really you. Just allowing this meditative quality of your breath to guide you into the space of your truest essence. And then maybe planting a seed of intention, creating a little stretch, and then starting to connect with your core, feeling that space behind your navel, draw in and up, feel your pelvic floor lift, root into the back of your leg, and feel that blanket underneath your heels. And maybe see if you can start to create some abductions, pulling the blanket out and then allowing it to come back in and just switching sides, just warming up your core, your legs. And whenever you feel like you've evened it out, just take a moment to find some stillness. And then allowing your right ankle to cross over your left, bringing right arm up, creating a little tug with your left arm and just a nice crescent-shaped stretch. And then finding your way to the other side when you feel like you sufficiently released that left ankle comes over right. And then we're going to create another sequence to kind of warm ourselves up. This time, taking a deep breath in, and as you exhale, engage your core from top to bottom, front to back, side to side. Lift your hips and see if you can slide that blanket away from you. Release your hips back and then slide your heels back into that bridge stance. So we're almost like creating a wave with our body. We lift our hips, we slide away, we lower our hips and slide back. And just starting to coordinate this movement with your breath. Maybe getting even deeper each time, but just making sure you keep that core engaged. And just working those legs, front and back. Let's do one more and then create a stretch. And then engaging the entire core, let's find a lift with your body. And then we're going to start with some work with our feet on the blanket. So now finding a firm base with your hands. After you stretch however you need to, come all the way up to mountain and dive down, rooting into your hands. Press into the earth with your arms. Squeeze your thumbs together. Draw your shoulder blades back and down. Inhale, find length, and then exhale, dive right back down. Find that grounded stability with your hands. Pads behind your fingers and thumb, pads in front of your wrist. And as you start to slide back and create that sun salutation with this blanket, really notice how the shoulder complex muscles connect to your core, the leg muscles connect, and you can start to transition from tops of feet to bottoms of feet. So now we're going to try that same thing, but we are going to use a block in between our legs to cement that midline connection just a little bit more. So placing that block about mid-thigh, squeezing that block, We're coming back to the same thing we just did with the plank. So when you're ready, mountain pose. Inhale all the way up. Dive straight down through heart center. Find length. And then plant those hands. Engage that core. Squeeze that block. Slide back to your plank. Flip to the tops of your feet when you're ready. If that's not accessible, don't. And then when you're ready, use that core strength as you flip right back to the bottoms of your feet. Inhale all the way up. Dive straight down through heart center. Let's try it again. Find length. Release those hands. Use that core strength. Use that shoulder complex. Engage that core. Lift up. Squeeze that midline. And let's root to rise all the way up. Hands together. Hands to your heart. Feel your breath beneath your hands. Inhale up again. Dive down. Find length. Root into those hands. Press back. Find that plank on this unstable surface of this slidey blanket. Flip to the tops of your feet. Let your core help flip you right back to the bottoms as you inhale all the way up. Hands together and hands to your heart. Now let's ditch the block. Take a moment. We're going to create this from a lunge. So we're going to have to keep that midline connection when you're ready. Frame your right foot. Step back with your left. Now you have to have the midline connection because your foot is on an unstable surface that will slide. So engage that core. Create that adduction. Bring your hands to your thigh. Engage any amount more. Lift. Squeeze back body. Make sure you're not compacting your lumbar. And then slowly come down. As you come down, slide that blanket to your knee. Give it a rest. And just intuitively start to release those muscles that you just warmed. Maybe rolling to the outer edge of your right foot. Kicking your back heel in. Little windshield wipers. And then placing that left leg on that unstable surface, one-legged down dog, right leg back. Use those muscles. It'll be harder this time coming forward with one leg. Find length when you're ready. And then let's find our forward fold. And then inhale all the way up. Mountain pose on the mat. Let's try the other side. Inhale up. Exhale, dive down. Lengthen, frame left foot as you step back with the right. Find that connection, crown of head, sitting bone to heel. Bring hands to left thigh. Squeeze everything for midline. Engage that core from top to bottom, front to back, side to side. Cactus those arms. Squeeze back body. Inhale and then exhale, dive right down. Bring that cushion of the blanket underneath your right knee. Start to intuitively move, releasing those muscles that you just worked so hard. Creating that lunge on this unstable surface. Right leg roots, slides back, downward facing dog, one leg, left leg extends, and then bring it back in. Uttanasana, forward fold. Inhale all the way up, hands together, and hands to your heart. So now let's get rid of the blanket. We've created a lot of warmth with that core work. And we're going to find our way back to the safety of our sticky mat to have that stable surface that's not going to slip. Coming to mountain pose when you're ready. Inhale up. Exhale, dive down. Uttanasana, forward fold. Inhale, find length. Exhale, release. Step back to plank. Notice how this feels. Let's do a few little pulses, lifting right leg, maybe 5 up and then 5 to the side. And then try left leg, 5 to the side and 5 up. And then let's find our way, bending our elbows all the way onto the ground. Rest your forehead down, press into the tops of your feet. Tense your elbows up, come onto your 5 fingertips, and then start to kind of snake your shoulders. Left shoulder snakes back, right shoulder snakes back, left shoulder dips forward, and just maybe do that one more time on each side. Just really releasing your abdominals, your shoulders, just checking in, your neck. And then coming back to center, bringing your hands back on either side of your shoulders, curl your toes under, fire up your quads and your core, press up into a push-up, or you could come through all fours, and then find your way into downward facing dog. A few deep breaths here. When you're ready, maybe crouching down, unfurling onto your tippy toes, just creating that core connection, finding lightness, possibly hop, you can always walk. Uttanasana, and then rooting to rise all the way up. Hands together, hands to your heart. This time, let's find chair. Squeezing the midline, knit your ribs back, lengthen tail. Maybe come up onto the balls of your feet, lifting your heels. Possibly coming through a toe balance. If it's not working for you, you can always fold straight down into Uttanasana. And then let's release ourselves to our behinds and see if you can find Navasana. We're going to swivel to our right sitting bone, lengthening hands over left thigh. Come back to center. Let's go to the other side. Inhale back to center. Exhale, swivel. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. Maybe changing the lacing of your fingers, adding a lower and lift, making it a little harder if you like. Don't lose that midline connection that we've created with the block and with that work we did on the blanket. Just a few more. Always making sure you even it out, going at your pace, resting at any time. You could even take these out and then figure out how would feel the very best to get back to your downward facing dog. And whenever you're ready, find your way into plank, possibly chaturanga dandasana, possibly upward facing dog. Maybe do some neck rolls here, stretching, and then meeting back again, downward facing dog. Let's start with our sequence. Right leg raises. Let's bring that right knee in towards your tricep, like a little elevator. Go down to the first floor, all the way back to tricep, possibly do a chaturanga push-up. When you're ready, release right shin, fire up left leg, keep that quad raised, find a little heart opener, a little back bend, and then send that right leg straight back. Kick your heel into your behind. Release that right side body and that right quad. Bring that knee all the way across midline, rooting into the outer edge of that right foot, possibly another chaturanga push-up. Keeping that left leg long and that ball of foot on the earth. We're in this little twist, maybe lifting, lowering a few times, opening up the right side body. You might even create the twist more specifically by letting your left cheek rest down. So you extend it into your cervical spine. Then pressing up, possibly into a push-up. Maybe come to fallen triangle, coming to the outer edge of right foot, inner of left. And maybe transition, keeping the left hand and right foot raised. You can have that intention of reaching back like a tiger balance. It may not happen yet. Bring right knee in towards your chest, high in the ball of left foot. Build your lunge. Notice how it's different now that you're not on an unstable surface. I always like to bring my hands to my hips at first, ground, bend my back knee before I rise up. I always like to do a little side stretch, possibly bending left elbow, bringing hand in between shoulder blade, and then spinning left foot down, warrior one. Let's interlace our hands behind us, however feels the most comfortable for you. Lift your heart. And you can either rest your torso on your thigh, or you can let your torso fall to the inside of your thigh, releasing those shoulders. You could even bind opposite elbow to opposite hand. When you're ready, finding a little downward facing dog stretch in your upper body, but keeping warrior one with your lower body. Pressing right knee in line if it keeps sweeping inward. We're going to slowly come onto the ball of our left foot, rooting into our left hand. Right hand comes to thigh. Maybe extend right hand long. Maybe rotate palm back and wrap it around your hip. Seeing if the transition to side plank would feel good. Lowering onto your left hip, reaching past with your right hand, and then lift it up. Any variation. You could come to child's pose if you need to. Vinyasa, one-legged or regular, downward facing dog is always an option. Let's do the other side. Left leg raises. Slowly bring it in towards left tricep, little elevator down and back up. Chaturanga push-up, possibly. And then releasing left knee, keeping right quad engaged. Open your heart, lift, squeeze, and then come all the way up. Scorpion down dog. Kick your heel into your behind. Lengthen left side body. Now let's bring that knee right back through center across midline, rooting into the outer edge of your foot. Little chaturanga push-up, possibly, then releasing all the way down to the ground. Maybe lift and lower a few times, opening up the left side body. Maybe turning right cheek to the earth to complete the spiral. When you're ready, pressing straight up, rolling to the inside of your right foot, outer edge of left, fallen triangle, possibly hover left leg, possibly transition opposite hand balance, possibly having that intention of a tiger balance. Lengthening left leg long, high in the ball of the right foot, land your foot in between your hands, left lunge, hands to hips, bend back knee. Create space, ground into the earth. This is a balance. When you feel like you've created the space, fire up that back leg, engage your core, reach your hands towards the sky, create the side stretch, grabbing right wrist, and then possibly bending the elbow and increasing this stretch. Lengthening hands, and then interlacing them in the weird way. Lifting your heart, another shoulder opener, either resting torso on thigh or to the inside. Rinsing those shoulders, releasing them to your sacrum, hands come to the inside of your left foot. And then keeping your lower body in in warrior one rather, lengthening downward facing dog with upper body. Coming right back onto the ball of the right foot. Left hand comes to left thigh, extends out, possibly rotates back and wraps around your hip, creating more of a stretch. And then transitioning into the side plank variation, dipping your hips, lengthening the right side body, firing up, and any variation of side plank or child's pose, downward facing dog, yogi's choice. And we will all meet just for a moment in child's pose, knowing that this option is available to you as often as you need it, just to recoup and notice what is. When you're ready, coming back into your downward facing dog, possibly finding those little unfurlings, maybe this time finding a little squat hop, maybe finding a tiptoe, find length, melt all the way down, maybe a lengthening neck massage. Find your Utkatasana when you're ready. All the way up, hands together, hands to your heart. This time I'll give you the option to come through chair and possibly coming the same way that we did last time, or maybe coming through Bakasana. Widening your knees as you come down, keeping big toe mounds together, heels together, finding a solid base for your hands, squeezing everything for midline, maybe lifting one foot, maybe lifting both, maybe think chaturanga, maybe you step back to downward facing dog and skip the vinyasa altogether. Let's start our next sequence. Right leg raises. Slowly bring knee into tricep, this time possibly finding a chaturanga push-up, maybe a kundiasana lift. Send it right back. Scorpion tail down dog, maybe trusting that you can balance, engage your core, and don't even land in back bend basi. Maybe just hover, hover, hover. Find your way right back and go across midline. Once again, finding your little lower. And this time, let's stack our hands and rest our forehead. You can keep that left leg engaged, ball of foot pressing into the earth, or you can make it sloppy, or just finding a little place to land. A few deep breaths here. And then when you feel like you're ready to begin to transition, just notice what you got going on. Finding your way, maybe pressing right back into a push-up, possibly finding fallen triangle again, maybe finding that hover, and then maybe completing the tiger balance. When you've had enough, bring that leg right back in straight away, warrior one. We've been here before. We're grounded, we're solid. Now let's transition to Virabhadrasana 2. Possibly bending right elbow, finding that little stretch as you kind of wing your arm to the inside of your right thigh. Left hand can be towards the sky or up, bicep by the ear. Releasing more fully to a side angle, and then reaching forward, diagonaling both of your feet towards the side of your mat, and release into Pasarita, wide-legged forward fold. And then maybe lengthening one leg, sinking down, left sitting bone to heel, And then ninja walking to the other side. Right sitting bone to heel, lengthening left leg long. And then when you're ready, possibly finding a bind, palms face back. If you want to take this into a balance, bending right knee, finding grounded stability, engage your core, and lifting up into that bird of paradise variation. And just wherever you are, just breathing. Releasing long, ninja walking to the other side. If you want to stay low, reach your hands forward, possibly finding a bind, possibly stepping left foot forward, finding a grounded space with the left foot, engaging your core, lightness in the right foot, and maybe lift up. Knowing that if this is not working for you, just come right back down. Playing around with your driste if you like. When you're ready, releasing, lengthening, and find your way right back. And then finding spine warrior, which is basically a lunge with a lengthened leg. So it's a little different than pyramid pose. If you need blocks because you feel tight, please place them on either side of your foot. And then let's create more of an Vinyasa twist. So rolling to the outer edge of right foot, think back bend with your right shoulder, maybe kick your back heel, and you might even grab that left foot. And then slowly releasing and making your way back, possibly Vinyasa, possibly child's pose, possibly downward facing dog. Let's try the other side. Left tricep lift, Kundasana, or maybe you tapped it, did a push-up, maybe you just tapped it. Kick that heel into your behind, possibly hovering back bend Vasisthasana, not landing, trusting you got this. Left leg extends long, high in the ball of the right foot, and then across midline land. You're back in the twist, but this time stacking your hands, maybe resting your cheek or your forehead, and just giving yourself this time to pause. Notice what you have going on. A few more deep breaths here. Really taking advantage of the pause. When you're ready to come back, bring hands on either side of your shoulders. We're going to press up, possibly coming to fallen triangle again, possibly hovering left leg, possibly transitioning opposite foot, opposite hand balance, maybe bind, tiger balance. Lengthening left leg long, high on the ball of the foot. We'll go straight away, warrior one. Take a moment. Open it up, warrior two. Left heel to inner arch. Scissor those legs together. Bend left elbow, palm faces back. Allow that elbow to come to the inside of your thigh. Right hand can be up, right bicep can be by your ear. When you've had enough of the stretch, lengthen long with your arms, and then reach your hand forward as you transition into your Pasarita, wide-legged forward fold. You can do what we did last time, side to side. You can start to set up for tripod headstand or regular headstand. Just play around with it. This is your moment to make this whatever you like. You could stay on the ground. You can fly. If you want to transition into crow again, possibly from headstand, maybe do. And then whenever you're ready, we'll all meet back in Pasarita, wide-legged forward fold. Maybe lengthen your neck if you did tripod to release your cervical spine. And then slowly make your way back to spine warrior, which is a lunge with a straight leg. My left leg is a little injured, so I need blocks on this side. So please use blocks if that's what you need. Maybe lift and lower the ball of your foot, squeezing and releasing your muscles when you've had enough. We're coming into that Vinyasa twist. So rolling to the outer edge of a left foot, letting your knee fall out wide, back bend with your left shoulder, possibly kicking right heel in. Maybe you grab it, maybe you don't. And then transitioning at your pace, either child's pose, Vinyasa, one-legged or regular, downward facing dog, yogi's choice. And then maybe coming back to child's pose just for a moment and just being thankful for whatever comes to your mind. Being able to move our bodies, having this practice that helps us connect to the space that is really us. taking a blanket if you have it, placing it to the left side of your mat. When you're ready, right foot roots, rotate your femur out. Either come to a frog leg, knee in line with hip, or maybe you straighten your leg, but we're going to land. Threading left arm through towards your right foot, maybe resting left cheek on right forearm. You could always use another blanket under your head. And here we are, just opening up our inner thigh, our inner groin, our inner hips. Just noticing the massage on the left side of your body as you're breathing. And just truly, again, letting yourself pause. If it feels good, maybe kicking your left heel in, getting even more space. And you're welcome to stay just as you are. But if you would like to add another layer, you can start to make your way into Sphinx arms, elbows underneath your shoulders. Draw navel into spine. Possibly find a little opposite foot, opposite hand balance as you reach your right arm back to connect with your left foot or ankle. And then releasing, we're going to roll onto our left hip, straightening our right leg. And then bend your left elbow, supporting your head. And then bring right hand behind you in that little shoulder stretch like we did earlier in Warrior 2, but this time we're rolling onto it. And then bending your left arm, maybe bringing it like a little Gomukhasana arm underneath your head. And finding another little shoulder yen posture. You can have your legs long, you can have your knees bent, just kind of finding the most awesome place to land, noticing the joints of your fingers, your wrists, noticing your shoulders left and right and the different rotations that this posture create. You can intensify it by letting your knee fall more to the right. And just breathe. When you're ready to release, using the support of your left head, free that right arm. Move it any way you like. Make your way right back to center and then decide. Do you want to press up to a push-up? Do you want to come to a child's pose? Allow right leg to extend back up and then bring it back forward. Open yourself straight away. Warrior 2. Scissor those legs in, widen collarbones. Engage your core, lift up. Do not sink into your right hip as you transition into Trikonasana. You're welcome to stay right here. If you want to transition into Ardha Chandrasana, you can do so by stacking right hip on top of right femur and left. Think side plank with the left side of your body. Find a solid base with your right arm and your right leg, perfectly parallel to one another. Use a block if you like. If you want to bend your left heel, pull your heel in towards your behind and find a bind, that's an option. Knowing you could still be in Trikonasana if that is what is best for you today. When you've had enough, lengthen long, look down. You can come to standing splits for just a moment. If you need a block, grab it. We're now going to do the revolve. So finding a solid base with your left hand, right leg. Bring your right hand to your sacrum. Make sure your hips are at the same latitude. As you spiral, navel, rib, chest, possibly bend left leg and grab your foot with your right hand. Lengthen long when you've had enough. Now, this may be where you step back to child's pose, but if you want to practice, allow your right thigh to be glued to your chest, sending left leg up towards the sky. Find a few hops. Possibly switching legs midway, hovering right leg as you find a vinyasa. And we will all meet back in downward facing dog or child's pose. Let's move the blanket to the other side. Extend left leg. And then find your way all the way forward. As you land, we're finding that same little frog leg or straight leg, threading right hand towards left foot, supporting right cheek on left forearm, and just landing in this effortless yen posture. Possibly kicking your right heel in, getting a little quad stretch. If it's comfortable, closing your eyes if you haven't already. Just knowing that this is an exploration. Staying there or possibly making your way into those Sphinx arms. Maybe bending that back leg again. Reaching back with left arm. Grabbing that foot. Little opposite foot, opposite hand bind. Then bending right elbow, straightening left leg. Allowing your left arm to come behind you in the Gomukhasana arms. And starting to find that yin posture supported by the blanket on the other side. Notice how it feels with the different rotations in the shoulders. You intensify it by letting your knees fall more to the left. If it's too much, you can straighten your legs or bring your knees back to center. Notice any differences here in the joints. Breathe. When you're ready to transition, use that right hand to support your head, free the left arm, and then find your way back. Either child's pose, press up to push up, left leg comes forward, straight away, Vira, 2. Squeeze everything in. Lengthen, straighten leg, keep a microbend in your left knee if you have a tendency to overextend it, and find whatever variation of Trikonasana feels the best for you. You can hover, you can rest your hand on your shin. Stay in triangle or lift yourself up to Ardha Chandrasana, finding a solid base for left arm, left leg. Think side plank with the right side of your body. Engage your core any amount more, possibly bending right knee, reaching back and grabbing your foot from the outside, Shavasana. Wherever you are, remain there until you're ready to choose your exit. As you do, use your block for support. We're going to create the revolve now. So right hand roots now. Left leg is rooted. Hand comes to sacrum. Find the bind if it feels good. And then again, you get to choose your exit. If you are having fun playing around with the hops, left thigh glues, think of it as your jumpy leg, right leg is your whipper leg. Possibly find a few little handstand hops, maybe switch halfway, find a vinyasa. We will all meet back, downward facing dog or child's pose. And wherever you are, take a moment, recoup, check in. Maybe notice what's changed. If you feel like you need more of a shoulder opener, maybe interlace hands and come into rabbit. Maybe grab your heels, but keep chin in line with your neck. Don't put too much pressure on your head if you visited those stretches for the back body. And slowly transitioning back to downward facing dog. And then finding your way back forward, finding length. And then deciding as you come through Utkatasana, coming all the way up. And then coming back again. We're going to come into a little twist now. Left tricep possibly comes to the thigh, but if that's not happening, allow your left forearm to be on your thighs and let your left fingertips pull you towards the right. Pulling left heel in towards your behind, allow it to come back, coming into your twisty side angle a little more specifically. You're welcome to stay here. You're welcome to drop your left hand to the earth and extend your right hand up. You're welcome to find a bind here. Whatever feels the best to you. But wherever you are, spiraling navel, ribs, chest towards the right. If you want to come into an arm balance, your Kundiyasana 1, go ahead, lift in your twist. There's so many options here. You can take them or leave them. Now, engaging that core, feeling the strength of that left leg. When you're ready, with the integrity of your core, unspiral and come to warrior 1. Straighten right leg, archer pose. Grab that wrist, create space. finding your way right back to warrior 2, and possibly coming through side angle, finding the bind here. You can always bring it back, right forearm to thigh. You can have your hand on a block. Lengthening, reaching all the way back, coming into Skandasana, reaching your hands towards the back diagonal of the room, and then coming onto the ball of your right foot. Engage your core, find a point of focus, flex your right foot, and cross your ankle over your left thigh, coming as deep as you like. You may stay more upright, you may sink down. If you want to play around with a twist, that's an option. Or you can, I'm just moving so you can see me more specifically, find a little place for your shen to land on your tricep tabletop and your ankle and lift into your flying pigeon. When you're ready, right knee comes high, kick leg long, engage core, flex foot, slide it right by, pretend like you can't touch the earth, slide your hand down your leg, standing split variation, landing whenever you're ready. And then knowing that you can create those hops again. You can step back to child's pose or downward facing dog. Maybe do the hop switch, Vinyasa, yogi's choice. Left leg extends long, wherever you are, downward facing dog, kick your heel into your behind, this time landing the back bend Vasi, possibly transitioning into wild thing, full wheel. Coming right back when you're ready, kicking left leg all the way through, and then ninja walking all the way back to the front. Meet your feet, find your forward fold. Maybe you bind opposite elbow to opposite hand, maybe you allow your first finger and middle finger to frame each one of your heels, and you let your toes massage out your wrists as the balls of your feet press into the palms of your hands. Any wrist release that you like. And then slowly start to build your Utkatasana again, chair pose. Sink down. You may start your twist by bringing right forearm to your thigh and bringing left hand to sacrum. If it feels comfortable, bring your right tricep to the outside of your left thigh. Bring palms to heart center. Engage your core any amount more. Bring your right heel in towards your behind. Step your foot back, knowing you could release your right hand to the earth if you need to. Finding possibly a bind. Making this whatever feels good to you in this spiral. Don't lose the integrity of your core here. Feel that line of connection, crown of head, sitting bone to heel. If you want to play around with Kundiyasana lift, arm balance, by all means, lift up for a moment, breathe. And wherever you are is awesome. Know that. We're going to come from the integrity of our core, engage, wrap from top to bottom, front to back, side to side. Find lightness in your right tricep as you unwind. Left heel comes to inside of right foot. Scissor those legs together and then lengthen left leg long as you grab your wrist, archer pose. Find your way back through Vira 2 as you transition into any variation of side angle. Bind, hand to earth, left forearm to thigh. Lengthen long. Reach both feet at a diagonal. Reach hands towards the back corner of your mat. Skandasana, transitioning into high lunge. Find a point of focus. Engage your core. Step high with your left foot as if you're trying to stand on something. Flex your left ankle. Cross it over your right thigh. Sink down. So this is the wide-legged cross variation. Knowing you could twist. Knowing you can find your hands to the earth. Allow your right tricep to support your left ankle and your left tricep to support your right thigh. Flying pigeon. Again, whatever feels best to you. Take a few more breaths wherever you are. And then transitioning, leg extends, flex foot. And like you're not trying to touch anything, slide your hands down your legs, standing splits. Releasing your hands to the earth whenever you like. And then deciding what you like. Handstand hops, child's pose, downward facing dog, hop switch, Vinyasa, yogi's choice. Right leg extends long. Kick your heel into your behind, possibly landing back in Vasi, possibly transitioning into wild thing, knowing that this is just an option. The minute you don't want to be here, come right back. Right leg extends long. Bring leg in. Find Skandasana. Ninja walk all the way back to the front. And find your way into Uttanasana, forward fold. Take a deep breath in. And then as you exhale, sink into yogi squat. Find that plumb line, crown of head to tailbone. Reconnect with source right behind your thumbs. Still your breath. And then finding your way onto your behind when you're ready. And then we're just going to start to find just our right leg, maybe starting to create some little rocks, hooking for them underneath calf, or maybe creating a wide-legged cross because that would feel better to release your outer hip. And then tilting that entire form of your body over, use your right hand to press your right thigh away from you. Almost like a lotus, but a little less intense, a little half lotus stretch. And then making your way right back. And then creating again that little rock, leg over the shoulder, creating space. Maybe finding a little compass pose, using your right hand to support you and straightening your leg. Maybe creating a little heron stretch, rotating your femur in or out or central, just noticing your leg. What do you have going on? And then seeing possibly if you could bring your leg over your shoulder, crossing left ankle over right, possibly doing a little push-up, maybe hovering in elephant pose. And then let's find our way into noble pose, crossing our right ankle over our left thigh, outwardly rotating your hips, grounded in knowing your left leg could be long if it needs to be, and then using your left arm like a little lever, right hand behind you, arm long to create length through the crown of your head. Breathe. If you want to create one more arm balance, possibly finding your way into your side crow here by coming onto your left shin, maybe you straighten your legs, coming a different way to come into that Kundiasana one. And again, take it or leave it. And then we'll just switch by planting our feet and switching sides. We'll go straight away into that press, left hand, little half lotus stretch. And then we'll come back to the wide-legged cross to open up. And then let's start now rocking left leg like a baby. Just noticing how this side could be different. For me, this side is a lot different because of an injury. So just massaging out any tightness, noticing the rotation that feels the best as you lengthen in the heron pose or play around with the compass pose, leg over shoulder. And then if you can find a place, right ankle crosses over left, squeeze, possibly do a push-up, possibly lengthen right leg long. You might even shift into Kundiasana, knowing that I couldn't do it on the other side, and one side is always different. And then finding your way into your noble pose when you're ready. Outwardly rotating your hips, finding grounded stability, using left hand behind you to help keep length of your spine, using right hand as a lever to the outside of your left thigh. Breathe. Knowing this is a perfectly great place to stay. Maybe coming onto your right shin, finding that little tabletop with one or both of your triceps underneath your left leg. Playing around with whatever feels the best to you. And whenever you've had enough, slowly begin to unwind, lengthen long, find your way into Dandasana. You can sit on a blanket if you need to, or you can find your way flat. But just hinging at your hips, finding length through the crown of your head, leading with your heart, possibly even using a block behind your feet to keep your feet flexed. Take a moment to turn inward and just to fold, creating this little shell to the outside world. And then finding your way back up, using your core to lay yourself down when you're ready. And as you come onto the ground, just notice how good it feels to land. And then maybe a supported shoulder stand would feel better, or maybe as you rock back and forth, you notice that plow would feel really good to you. Just making sure there's nothing behind your head that will mess with your neck. You want to keep your neck in alignment with the center of your chest. You don't want to move your head in one direction or the other. So if you're coming into full shoulder stand, finding your way to plow, inching shoulder blades together, bending elbows, pinkies parallel to support your spine, thumbs wrap around, and just find that stacking of your legs towards the sky. If you choose to do the other, you're going to bend your knees, plant your feet back in that bridge, use your block to elevate your hips, and then extend your legs towards the sky. So whatever you choose. If you want to go through deaf man's pose, maybe lessening the bend of your knees so your knees can kind of rest in your eye sockets, and then maybe finding them beside your ears. And then if you want to release using your core, vertebra by vertebra, slower than you think you should, like a little runway for your spine, arms parallel, let your sacrum make its way back to the earth. And then keeping everything engaged from midline, possibly bringing your hands kind of under your behind and your thighs to come into Namaste, fish pose. You can press into your forearms as you lift your heart, land your legs, and then find that stable base with the back of your head, possibly even bringing your hands to your heart. You could even lift your legs if you'd like here. When you've had enough, little lengthening neck massage to release your neck after your fish pose. And then let's bring our knees in towards our chest, grabbing the insides of our feet and happy baby, maybe straightening one leg and then the other leg, possibly lengthening any amount more, crown to tail, and extending both legs in a big wide V. And then grabbing the outer edges of your feet, bringing your chin towards your chest, interlacing your fingers to the outsides of your feet, pressing your feet into your hands, long arms, stretch the entire back body and all the joints of your arms, your wrists, your fingers. And then slowly release into your final resting pose. You may visit Supta, Baddha Konasana, reclined bound ankle pose. You may straighten your legs at any time. Maybe bringing left hand to your heart, right hand to your belly. And just reconnecting with your source. And I'm just going to finish with a little reading to send us out into the rest of our day. This past week was the spring equinox in the northern hemisphere. It is an instinctual time within the cycle of the seasons to pause at this point of equanimity and reconnect ourselves to the wisdom of our heart, our source that has always been there and happens to be the one constant as we remain on this adventure within this physical form on this planet. Our ultimate aim is to become the most expanded version of our truest essence, remembering, uncovering, and weaving in this ever-present wellspring of knowing that has always been there, here to guide us. As a little kid, when we are taught to swim, we are told that when we get tired, we can flip over onto our backs and float. Let's begin by conceiving that we have done just that. We need a little break, and we've flipped over onto our backs, and we are floating, held lovingly by the deep water. Let's envision ourselves on a summer day in the bay or the ocean or another lake or river, totally supported by the buoyancy of the water, breathing in the fresh air with the warming sun on our face. We can think of this time of rest as our outlet into the wall that is going to give us the fuel that we need to recharge, handle any transition, any uncertainty, every unknown that is present for us right now or that may come. Each day we are going to navigate the riptidish waters of the unfamiliar, recognizing that this uncertainty can be exciting and exhausting. The unknown can be frightening and exhilarating. This is our chance to stop and catch our breath before we jump back into the flux that leads to transformation. Always remembering that we have the safe space to come to our back float, to recoup, recharge, and remember until we are ready to swim back into the uncharted flow once again. Slowly find your way to a seat when you're ready. And just notice the space of your heart. What is present for you right now? Let's extend our hands out. Inhale all the way up. Just sending out all that positive energy that we created out to those who need it. And then bringing your hands together and your hands to your heart. And as you lift your heart, Feel your hands in front of you. And just be grateful. For this community, for this practice. Namaste. Thank you.